English language and composition students, this is Mr. Francavella with lesson 15. This is going to be on parallelism again, so parallelism part 2. We do need to work with it. It's a little more complex. And so just a reminder, what is it? It is repetition. Repetition of what? It is repetition of either the same idea, the same grammatical type repeated, like all participles repeated, or the same word or words repeated. And they should be somewhat near each other. Or we probably wouldn't call it parallelism. If there's only one repetition, it's very distant in a piece of writing from another. No, it's not parallelism. Why is it used? Multiple reasons. For clarity, when you repeat something, it becomes clearer. For intensification, sometimes the rapid-fire repetition increases the emotional impact. And I'm just checking something here. Yeah, that's fine. And also for another purpose that we will get to later. All right. Has something to do with balance or so on. So let's see what we have here. This is from chapter 6. I don't think we got this far yesterday. It's the exercises, exercise 1 at the end of chapter 6, which I sent you on Edmodo. Now, when a certain word repeats, it's easy to see. It's parallelism. And we do have that here. We have an article, a and the, those are articles. We have the same word. We do not have the same word here. But it's still parallelism. Because those are both what? Past participles. Modifying the noun. So we have extreme parallelism in actual words, but also grammatical types repeated. Was this act the work of a genius or a lunatic? Chapter 6 taught us some new terminology. Of a genius or a lunatic. Of is what? A preposition. We have two objects of the preposition. That means that we have a similar type repeated. And so even though they're not the same word, it's still parallelism. What can we say? Are they similar or different? Obviously different. Well, not always. Sometimes geniuses are a little strange, but they're implying that they're different here. When we have one pivotal word, and it has a first, something that's a word that is related to it that is one idea, and one diverges, or if we have a few and then one diverges, what technique do we have? Chapter 6 taught you opposites. That has to do with antithesis, but this is a special form, which this could be a type of antithesis, but it's for sure it's a zeugma. One pivotal word that they both relate back to, and there is something that diverges away from what the idea that starts is. So we have repetition, parallelism with these words. This situation is a problem not only for the students but also for the teachers. Where is our parallelism here? We have this and we have this. They're both what? Prepositional phrases. All right, and they are not only but also, what was that? We learned about that, correlative conjunctions. We do have that there too. But the parallelism is related to the same phrase type that repeats. What do we have here? Heather learned to work fast, ask few questions, and generally keep a profile. Well, Heather learned, and these are the things she learned. So they're all direct objects. So this and this and this are all direct objects. We have 3. So that's our parallelism constituted by the direct object repetition, but also by the form. Not only how it functions are they the same, all direct objects, but they're all infinitives. The 2 is only stated once because it might be a little annoying a little cumbersome to have the 2 in there, but they're still infinitives. And there's an infinitive with an object of the infinitive, infinitive with the object of the infinitive, infinitive with the object of the infinitive. So the infinitive phrases are all formed the same, and they're all direct objects. It's extremely parallel. So that's all we're going to look at in that exercise 1. Now, the next exercise in the book, I want to wait on until we do something a little more simple, like it. Right? So we'll go on to exercise 2, but sometimes we have lack of parallelism. We have to fix it. I think I sent you a worksheet like that. Well, it would be like doing this. Find what's not similar, especially when you have 3 things it's easy to, and there's only one that's not, it's easy to see. All day long, I was at the beach, lying in the sun, swimming in the lake, and enjoyed myself. In college, at least, a professor will probably mark this wrong if they're paying attention to the grammar. We have this and this are similar. This is kind of similar. They're all whats? They're all verbals. They're all participles, participial phrases. But they could be more similar because we have present participles here and a past there. So this really stands out. In this case, it stands out as awkward. It might not always, but in this case it does because we have 3, and 2 being one way. So we would want to change it to enjoying myself. Tell me what you think, expected, and feel. Tell me what you think, expected, and feel. Well, these 2 are similar how? They're similar in verb tense. Present, and this is past. All right? So we have to change that. Tell me what you think, expect, and feel. They should all be the same type grammatically. Same verb tense. I have bought ice cream, went to my friends, and watched TV. This is how people talk. Doesn't make it correct. We have more strict rules for writing than speaking. We have the perfect tense here. When you have, has, or had as a helping verb and then a past participle, you have one of the perfect tenses. So here's the helping verb. Here's the past participle. I have bought. And watched extends off of it. And that's correct. Past participle, past participle. But today I go, the simple present tense. Yesterday I went, that's a simple past tense. The simple past tense isn't always the same form as the past participle. The past participle is the form of the verb that follows have, has, or had in a verb phrase and is correct. So what follows have? I have went? No, I have gone. I have bought ice cream, gone to my friends, and watched TV. Now it's parallel. Try your best. Apply yourself, and forgetting the rest. Just because they rhyme doesn't make them parallel, but these do. Try, apply. This is not the same form. We don't need the ing. We don't want it to be a participle. We want it just to be in the imperative form, the commands. Try, apply, forget, right? So we want the verb to be as an imperative, a command form. So that's how you would fix. Change them all to the same type. Now let's look at exercise 2. Okay. I will enlarge that and center it. That looks pretty good. This is a little more work, and your worksheet isn't quite as difficult as some of these, no, but let's see not only what we fixed, but what the name of it is, like what type is not in sync with the others. My new exercise program and going on a strict diet will help me lose the weight I gained over the holidays. Something and something will help me. They're not in the same form. We have an ing and we don't. So we could make sure there's an ing here, like some sort of present participle, or gerund. It's a gerund here. But anyway, we could make the 2 verbals be the same, but it makes it more streamlined and simple if we have a simpler way. My new exercise program and going on a strict diet. My new exercise program and make this look like this. My strict diet. My new exercise program and strict diet would be fine, or you could put the my there. But we don't really need it. My new exercise program and strict diet. These two things, and they're nouns that aren't verbals, so they're the same. Let's look at number 2. This one might be a little tricky. As part of his accounting business, Rick has private clients, does some pro bono work, that means free work, and corporations. Well, here we have 3 items and 2 are similar, so it's going to be easy to find which one isn't the third one. Rick has, Rick does. So we have subject, verb, verb, no verb. All right? We have subject, verb, complement, verb, complement, and maybe that's the complement. All we need is a verb. So what are we going to put there? Well, we have noun in the form of work here, but I really feel that idea would be best here. Works for corporations. So we don't want to have work here, so we have to change the wording here. So that is a little more complex. Rick has private clients, does or performs some pro bono services, so we need some synonyms, and works for corporations. Has private clients, performs some pro bono services, and works for corporations. Subject, verb with the complement each time. Verb, verb, verb complement, verb complement, verb complement. So we've got to keep it the same. So this is the last, well, we might do 2 more. All right. Try not to focus on the mistakes that you've made. What you've learned from them should be your focus instead. Well, we have focus repeated too. It's usually not a good idea. But let's see. Try not to focus on the mistakes that you made. And we have opposites, right? We have opposite ideas. So we probably need but. And we have instead that tells us it's an opposite. So we could leave that there or we can move it up. Try not to focus on the mistakes that you made, but instead on what you've learned from them. Or you could just say what you've learned. Try not to focus on the mistakes that you made, but instead on what you've learned. That would be very more succinct, too. This will be our last one. A new job is likely to cause a person anxiety and working. It's going to be to cause anxiety. So we have an infinitive with the object. To cause a person anxiety, to cause a person... So we don't have... Either we have to have another infinitive or we have to have the same sort of object of the infinitive. So a new job is likely to cause a person to feel anxiety and to work extra hours. So what I chose is to make these the same by making them both infinitives, even though I already had an infinitive here. They're the infinitives being the object of this infinitive. Yes, I guess it can happen. A new job is likely to cause a person to feel anxiety and to work extra hours. So I made these the same. There's many ways you can make them the same. All right, so the very last thing I want to show you is just 2 examples from an early 18th century writer that show you